Good afternoon, not afternoon. Good evening, YouTube. Hajim Zero here, back with another quick movie review. This is another Western, a little bit more of a modern Western, and I fairly enjoyed it because I never sat down to watch this. This one is kind of rare too. It's Posse, and it's done by Mario Van Peebles. Ironically, that's who I'm named after, and that's the only second clue to anyone who might know who I really am. Because on another video, my name was mentioned, but it's very faint. Thanks, mom. Uh, but this is pretty much about the real history of cowboys, not that bullshit that Hollywood had glorified. You know, and this is me getting a little bit political here because take those movies where mainly where that takes place in Egypt, how they have very great epic stories back then in Hollywood, just whited it all up. Same thing with the cowboy movies. Actually, the term cowboy actually comes from the little bit of the slur of calling a black man a boy, and I believe a lot of the cowhide or something they had wore on them. Um, don't 110% quote me on that. You can possibly look it up on Google, even though I failed to. But I remember hearing that from someone a while back, and I heard it from like two or three different people. But this movie stars, of course, Mario Van Peebles, as you can see, Pam Grier, Isaac Hayes. I can't remember the father's name from Family Matters. He's in this too, Reginald something. Forgive me because he is a good actor too. Die Hard is another classic, and of course, Family Matters. Um, Tone Lock is in this. Big Daddy Kane. Stephen Baldwin, Adam Baldwin's brother. The dude that played Debo and Friday. I think he did this before he did Friday. His name is Tiny Zeus Zest or something. Um, Melvin Van Peebles, Mario Van Peebles' dad, he's in this too. Um, and Woody Strode, he's a very known black, actor. I think he did a few, well, possibly think slash know he did a few westerns, and they even show clips of him in this movie. A little bit of a twist. He's the narrator narrating the film, and he's also in the story as well. He's the little boy in the town that witnessed all the stuff that was going on in the town. Um, Reginald Hudlin's in this too. The guy that directed he directed House Party, and before Ta-Nehisi Coates had did Black Panther, he did some Black Panther work in Marvel Comics as well. I think it was that animation thing by BET. He could have written some of the stuff as well. I know that for a fact. I think he was the one that created Shuri, which is T'Challa's sister. I'm have a feeling like I'm leaving out somebody. Oh, and Billy Zane. Billy Zane's in this, and he's a very good actor as well. He plays a very good bad guy. I grew up a lot watching his performance in his movies. Of course, Tales from the Crypt, Demon's Night comes to mind. Dead Calm, and Tales from the Crypt, the TV show, and of course Titanic. He plays good villains. I'm shocked the MCU has not used him yet as a villain. I could be wrong. Hopefully, we'll get to see him. His voice and his charisma is very threatening. I did see him in a martial arts movie where he was a mentor. It was TV made. He does a good job at that as well. But pretty much the plot of this movie, it takes place in 1898 in New Orleans. No, not New Orleans, Cuba in the beginning. Then they eventually go to New Orleans. It's the Spanish-American War, and Mario Van Peebles plays Jesse Lee, the main character, and he was a soldier, and he's under command of Billy Zane's character, who's of course a known racist. And make a long story short, he gets them to steal some gold just so he'll have a legal reason to kill him. And when you watch it, you realize it was a setup, for them to rob the Spanish. I think he had told them it was American supplies or something like that. So they figure this out. They go out on the run to New Orleans, and then the whole movie, Billy Zane's character is tracking them. A good side a side, well, not if you want to call it a side story, is that he came from a town where he his father was lynched by one of the corrupt sheriffs, and Blair Underwood is in this. That's who I was leaving out. And the chick that's on the screen, she's very beautiful too. She's also a known star. I can't remember her name, but she's an I Am Legend. But going back to the story, uh, so crap, I lost my train of thought. Uh, oh, he came from this town and he had a lot of history in, and I want to say that they were gonna go and hide out, and of course the sheriff uh that is like a couple towns over, he heard that Jesse Lee was back and he's on the pursuit of taking him out too. I'm assuming that he was trying to kill him, trying to get to his dad, and then eventually he enlisted in the army, so he couldn't get him. So while they are trekking to get to the town, again, Billy Zane's character is hunting him, and it was very, very well done. I don't think the two villains meet, but I don't think they would have worked together anyway. Most likely Billy Zane's character was going to betray the sheriff dude because he had his own personal motives. He had a much bigger picture, politically, and being in the military versus this dude being a sheriff and, just messing with Jesse Lee's character. But like I said, the real statement of this movie was really to shine a light on how Hollywood, always portrayed, white guys in history of being, the elite cowboy, even though it was a lot more blacks who were. Most of them were freed, freed after, the Civil War, and most of them had went out west. So, the history book says one thing, of course, cinema says something else. And again, I'm not shocked because, like I said, it's like those movies that they did back in the 60s. Hell, they even do some of it today, where it's in Egypt, but you have a lot of Anglo-Saxons around, which isn't true. You look at those hieroglyphics, there's some, brown, black people, and even one of it was a racist, probably call him a racist. It was an explorer that went to Egypt, and how advanced they were, pretty much how decent their life with technology and tools and stuff they made, during their civilization. It was a white Anglo-Saxon explorer, and he said he couldn't believe that black people had did all that. And that just goes to show you with the racism, how deep it is from propaganda, versus, you just being told certain lies. So, I really enjoyed this film. It did have a couple of flaws. There were some moments where I believe they glorified, just heavy black promotion in general. And it's not a bad thing, but at some point you sit there and stop to think that, okay, it's getting overdone just a little bit. Even though people are probably going to argue with me or criticize me just for saying that. The thing is, I don't like, the lies and being told or told lies. I will say I definitely do believe, of course, there were a lot of black, cowboys back then. And, of course, Hollywood had fucked all that up because I bet you they had found that out and they didn't want that image being out there. That I will acknowledge. But there's some other fun facts about this movie. They did a lot of research. If you look at the end credits, they went to a lot of different places, from Buffalo Soldiers, and even all the little library stuff they had credited at the very end of the credits. What else I was about to say? What I found out too, the main narrator, the Woody Strode guy, really, really funny fact is that the character in Toy Story named Woody was actually named after him. Now, I don't know because of just a name or the fact that he was in some of those cowboy, pictures back in the 60s and 70s. And another one of my favorite classic modern westerns that I will eventually review is The Quick and the Dead, which was actually that actor's last film. The Quick and the Dead is the one with Sharon Stone, Russell Crowe, and Leonardo DiCaprio. Back when they were very fairly young, especially Leo. And my other favorite one I really want to sit down and watch is Tombstone with Val Kilmer, and I think Gene Hackman's in that one. But like I said, I really love this film. A lot of good inspiration. I'm really kind of curious if the video game Red Dead Redemption had gotten inspiration from this, a little bit inspiration from this film. I know they definitely did with Clint Eastwood's films and a few other cowboy films, but I'm just very, very curious. And the last interesting fact I'm going to state about this movie, I don't know how many people seen Gangs of Roses. It's pretty much the female version of Posse. It stars Little Kim, Monica Calhoun, Stacey Dash. I can't remember the Asian actress that was in there. I think Bobby Brown's in it. I don't know how true this is because I don't know what the film company is, but Jesse Lee's character makes a cameo appearance. I think one of the characters was about to be executed, and he shows up and he shoots off the noose. And again, I don't know if it was throwaway or not. I don't know if people seen Gang of Roses. Oh, Lisa McCoy's in there. That's who the other actress was. But I don't know what year that film in the story had took place because, like I said, this one was in 1898. Going into the 18th century. Hopefully I said that one right. But I'm assuming it was at the same time. I might look that up later, or you can go research it yourself and tell me in the comments if it's connected or if it was just a throwaway behind the scenes thing, kind of like with Django showing up in what was it, 1000 Ways to Die in the West. But like I said, I really love this film. I think this film was made off of the financial success of New Jack City, that Mario was also in. And it's just a shame that I haven't seen the dude in a while. The last credit I seen him do was an episode of Lost, and that was right around when the series was about to end. So I haven't seen any of his work, or him doing anything. I'm not trying to doubt the guy. It's just like, that was the last credit he had. In the early 90s, I know he was very, very known. One of my grandmother's or my cousin's mom, my dad's side, used to call me Mario Van Peebles all the time, and somebody else did too. And after looking at who he was and his work, I was very happy to to finally know who he was. I think the first movie I seen him in was in Ali with Will Smith. He had portrayed Malcolm X, and he looked just like him. I'm not trying to bash Denzel's performance, but looking at him and then looking at the real Malcolm, I definitely now want to see a longer version of the Malcolm X movie, with Mario Van Peebles in it, because like I said, he looked just like him. Malcolm was mixed, and even the height, with the glasses and the suit, like Mario in that movie looked like a splitting image of him. And, I was very glad, that was my first movie seeing him in. And of course, now going back and seeing Posse in New Jack City and, watching that episode that he had directed on Lost, I was very, very, even seeing his name, it had shocked me. I was like, wow. And it just blows that that's the only episode he ever directed. But I'm just rambling on now. The next review will probably be, I think it's The Purge, and right after that is Apocalypse Now. Can't wait to talk to you guys about that one. Other than that, I will see you guys later. Sayonara.